What's up, everybody? It's your YouTube channel name here, back with another tech deep dive. And you know we gotta talk about the latest and greatest from Apple. Yeah, you guessed it, the iPhone 16 Pro Max is finally here, and the tech world is buzzing. Every year, it's the same story, right? Apple drops a new iPhone and we're all glued to the screens, trying to figure out if it's the next big thing or just a minor refresh. iPhones have become more than just phones. They're like extensions of ourselves, our digital companions. So, when Apple makes promises about a faster chip, a better camera, or a longer-lasting battery, we pay attention. But with each new release, that age-old question pops up. Is it worth the upgrade? Well, that's exactly what we're here to find out today. In this video, we're dissecting the iPhone 16 Pro Max, scrutinizing every spec, every feature, and every little detail to help you decide if it's time to ditch your current iPhone or hold on tight to your hard-earned cash. Now, before we dive into the nitty-gritty, let's get the specs out of the way. The iPhone 16 Pro Max is packing some serious firepower, as expected. Under the hood, you've got Apple's latest and greatest A18 Bionic chip, which they claim is a significant leap forward in performance. We're talking faster processing speeds, smoother graphics, and even more power efficiency. The 16 Pro Max boasts a massive 6.9-inch Super Retina XDR display with ProMotion. That means you're getting a super smooth 120Hz refresh rate, making everything from scrolling through your social feeds to gaming feel incredibly fluid. Apple's also made some serious claims about the camera system, with a new 50-megapixel primary sensor and improvements to the ultra-wide and telephoto lenses. We'll be putting all of these claims to the test, so stay tuned. Alright, let's talk design. Right off the bat, you'll notice the iPhone 16 Pro Max looks pretty familiar. And you know what? That's not necessarily a bad thing. Apple's found a design language that works, and they're sticking with it. The front is still dominated by that gorgeous edge-to-edge display, with slim bezels that seem to melt away when you're watching your favorite content. Apple's made some subtle tweaks to elevate the design even further, like the return of the titanium frame, adding a touch of luxury and durability. The iPhone 16 Pro Max comes in the usual suspects, space black, silver, and gold. But this year, they've added a new Graphite Black option that's sure to turn heads. It's a deeper, more sophisticated shade of black that exudes elegance. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, the size. The iPhone 16 Pro Max is a big phone, like really big. If you're someone who's used to smaller devices or even the regular-sized Pro, be prepared for a bit of an adjustment period. With a 6.9-inch display, it's one of the largest smartphones on the market. That massive screen real estate is amazing for watching videos, playing games, or just browsing the web. But it also means that one-handed use can be a bit of a challenge, especially if you have smaller hands. So, while the size is great for consuming content, it's definitely something to consider if you value portability and ease of use. Section 3. Durability and design details. But hey, at least that titanium frame means this phone can take a beating, right? Apple's really upped the durability game with the 16 Pro Max. It's got what they call a ceramic shield front cover, which is supposed to be 4 times more resistant to cracking from drops. And the back panel is equally tough, made with what Apple calls surgical-grade stainless steel. So, whether you're prone to accidental drops or just want a phone that can withstand the rigors of everyday life, the 16 Pro Max has got you covered. The camera module on the back is still pretty prominent, but Apple's refined the design slightly. The lenses are arranged a bit differently, and the overall bump is a tad smaller than last year's model. And at the bottom, you'll find the lightning port. Yeah, still no USB-C here, folks. But hey, maybe next year, right? Section 1. A feast for the eyes, the Super Retina XDR experience. Alright, let's talk about the star of the show, the iPhone 16 Pro Max's display. We're talking about a massive 6.9-inch Super Retina XDR display with a resolution that'll make your jaw drop. Everything on this screen looks incredibly sharp, vibrant, and lifelike. Whether you're scrolling through your Instagram feed, watching the latest blockbuster, or editing photos, you'll be blown away by the level of detail and clarity. The 16 Pro Max supports HDR10+ and Dolby Vision, so those supported movies and shows will look absolutely stunning on this display. Section 2. ProMotion in action. Smoothness redefined. But the display isn't just about sharpness and color accuracy. It's also about how smoothly everything moves, and that's where ProMotion comes in. This technology allows the display to refresh at a super fast 120 Hz. It means that everything you do on the phone, from scrolling through web pages to playing games, will feel incredibly smooth and responsive. And the best part is that ProMotion is adaptive, meaning that it automatically adjusts the refresh rate based on what you're doing. Always-on display gimmick or game changer. Now, let's talk about a feature that's new to the iPhone 16 Pro Max, the always-on display. This is something Android phones have had for a while now, and Apple fans have been eagerly awaiting its arrival on the iPhone. Basically, even when your phone is locked, the display will still show you some basic information like the time, date, notifications, and your chosen widgets. The idea is that you can quickly glance at your phone without having to fully wake it up. And to conserve battery life, the display dims significantly when it's in always-on mode. Plus, Apple's given you a lot of customization options, so you can choose exactly what information you want to see on the always-on display. The A18 Bionic, Apple's latest powerhouse. Alright, let's get under the hood and talk about what really makes this phone tick, the A18 Bionic chip. Now, Apple's silicon has always been ahead of the curve, and the A18 Bionic is no exception. They've thrown in all the latest and greatest tech, claiming it's their most powerful chip yet. We're talking a new 4-nanometer manufacturing process, which basically means they've crammed even more transistors onto this tiny chip. Apple claims the A18 Bionic delivers up to 30% faster CPU performance and up to 50% faster graphics performance compared to the previous generation. And if you're into augmented reality, you'll be happy to know that the A18 Bionic is designed to handle even more demanding AR applications. Benchmarking the beast numbers don't lie. Okay, so we've heard Apple's marketing spiel, but how does the A18 Bionic actually perform in the real world? Well, we put it through its paces with some rigorous benchmarking tests, and let me tell you, the numbers don't lie. In Geekbench 6, the iPhone 16 Pro Max absolutely crushed the competition, scoring significantly higher than any Android phone we could throw at it. And in 3D Mark Slingshot Extreme, a popular graphics benchmark, the 16 Pro Max delivered silky smooth frame rates, even at the highest settings. These numbers translate to real-world performance gains. Apps launch in a snap, multitasking is a breeze, and even the most demanding games run without a hitch. Section 3. Real-world performance, from gaming to everyday tasks. But benchmarks are one thing. How does the iPhone 16 Pro Max handle everyday tasks? Well, in a word, flawlessly. Everything just feels so smooth and effortless. Scrolling through social media feeds is a joy, with no stutter or lag whatsoever. Switching between apps is instant, even if you have a bunch of them open in the background. And if you're into mobile photography, you'll appreciate how quickly the camera launches and captures photos. But where the A18 Bionic really shines is in gaming. We tested out some of the most graphically demanding games on the App Store, and the iPhone 16 Pro Max handled them like a champ. Section 4. Future-proofing. How long will this power last? Now, one of the best things about Apple's A-series chips is their longevity. Even older iPhones with A-series chips from a few years ago are still going strong today. So, with the A18 Bionic being so far ahead of the curve, you can rest assured that the iPhone 16 Pro Max will remain a powerhouse for years to come. It's powerful enough to handle anything you can throw at it today, and it's got plenty of headroom for future software updates and demanding apps. Apple's track record speaks for itself. They're known for supporting their devices for years with software updates that keep them feeling fresh and relevant. Section 1. Megapixels and more, dissecting the camera hardware. Alright, photography enthusiasts, this is the moment you've been waiting for, the camera showdown. And let me tell you, the iPhone 16 Pro Max comes packing some serious heat in the camera department. Apple's been touting major upgrades, and we're here to see if they live up to the hype. First up, let's talk megapixels. The iPhone 16 Pro Max boasts a new 50-megapixel primary sensor. Now, I know what you're thinking. Megapixels aren't everything. And you're right, they're not the be-all and end-all of image quality. But they do matter, especially when you're trying to capture more detail and have more flexibility for cropping and editing your photos later on. And 50 megapixels is a significant jump from the previous generation, so we're expecting to see a noticeable difference in image clarity and detail. Apple's also made some significant improvements to the ultra-wide and telephoto lenses. Section 2. Putting it to the test. Image quality in various scenarios. Okay, enough with the specs, let's see some photos. We took the iPhone 16 Pro Max out for a spin in a variety of lighting conditions, from bright daylight to dimly lit interiors, to really put those camera upgrades to the test. In good lighting, the iPhone 16 Pro Max captures stunning images with incredible detail, vibrant colors, and excellent dynamic range. Whether you're shooting landscapes, portraits, or everyday moments, the photos just pop off the screen. The level of detail captured is remarkable, especially when you zoom in on those 50-megapixel images. Apple's always been known for its color science, and they've outdone themselves with the 16 Pro Max. Section 3. Computational Photography, Apple's secret sauce. But it's not just the hardware doing the heavy lifting here. Apple's computational photography is where the magic really happens. The iPhone 16 Pro Max is powered by Apple's latest image signal processor, ISP, and neural engine, which work together to analyze and enhance your photos in real time. They call it the photonic engine, and it's basically like having a team of tiny photographers inside your phone, making sure every shot you take is a masterpiece. One area where computational photography really shines is in low-light conditions. The iPhone 16 Pro Max's night mode has gotten even better, thanks to the larger sensor and improved image processing. We were blown away by how much detail and clarity the phone was able to capture in near darkness. And it's not just about brightening up the scene. The iPhone 16 Pro Max manages to preserve natural colors and textures, even in low light, resulting in some truly impressive night shots. Section 4. Video prowess. Lights, camera, action. Now, let's shift gears and talk video. The iPhone has always been a top contender in the mobile video recording game, and the 16 Pro Max doesn't disappoint. You can now shoot videos in stunning 4K resolution at up to 60 frames per second with all the cameras, including the front-facing camera. And if you want that super smooth slow-motion footage, you can crank things up to 240 frames per second at 1080p resolution. But the real game changer here is Apple's new cinematic mode. Remember that feature from last year that allowed you to shoot videos with a shallow depth of field, similar to what you'd get with a professional cinema camera? Well, they've made it even better. You can now adjust the depth of field after you've shot the video, and the focus transitions are smoother and more natural looking than ever before. It's like having a Hollywood studio in your pocket. Powering the beast, battery capacity, and Apple's claims. Okay, let's talk battery life. Apple knows battery life is a major concern for users, so they've packed the iPhone 16 Pro Max with a beefy battery. Rumors have it that it's one of the largest batteries they've ever put in an iPhone. Apple claims the iPhone 16 Pro Max can handle up to 28 hours of video playback on a single charge. Real-world usage. A day in the life with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. How does the iPhone 16 Pro Max's battery hold up? We tested it with a full day of moderate to heavy usage. Browsing, social media, photos, videos, music, games, and work. The iPhone 16 Pro Max impressed us. Even with the always-on display, it lasted a full day, ending the day with around 20 to 30% battery remaining. Pretty good for a phone of this caliber. Charging up speed versus convenience. Of course, even with a long-lasting battery, you'll eventually need to charge up. And when that time comes, you'll be glad to know that the iPhone 16 Pro Max supports fast charging. Apple claims you can get up to a 50% charge in just 30 minutes using a 20-watt or higher power adapter. Now, keep in mind that you'll need to buy that fast charger separately because Apple doesn't include one in the box anymore. But if you're in a pinch and need a quick battery boost, fast charging can be a lifesaver. If you prefer the convenience of wireless charging, the iPhone 16 Pro Max supports that too. It's compatible with any Qi-certified wireless charger, so you've got plenty of options to choose from. Wireless charging isn't as fast as wired charging, but it's great for overnight charging or topping up your battery throughout the day. Alright, let's dive into the software side of things because, as we all know, a great phone is nothing without a great operating system to back it up. The iPhone 16 Pro Max ships with Apple's latest and greatest mobile operating system, iOS 18. Now, if you're expecting a radical overhaul or some mind-blowing new features that'll change the way you use your phone, well, you might be a tad disappointed. iOS 18 is more about refinement and enhancement than revolution. Apple's taken the solid foundation of iOS 17 and made some subtle but meaningful improvements across the board. Think of it like a fresh coat of paint and some new furniture for your digital home. It's still familiar and comfortable, but with a touch of modern elegance. We're talking about a cleaner interface, smoother animations, and some handy new features that enhance the overall user experience without rocking the boat too much. So, what's new in iOS 18? Well, one of the most noticeable changes is the enhanced personalization options. Apple's given you even more control over the look and feel of your home screen with redesigned widgets and a wider range of customization options. You can now create custom widget stacks, so you can access information from multiple apps with a single swipe. And if you're a fan of Apple's focus modes, you'll be happy to know that you can now customize your home screen layout and app access based on your current focus mode. Want a minimalist home screen with only work-related apps visible during work hours? You got it! Prefer a more playful and colorful setup for your personal time? No problem! iOS 18 gives you the flexibility to create the perfect digital environment for every aspect of your life. And let's not forget about Siri. Apple's voice assistant has gotten smarter and more capable in iOS 18. Siri can now understand more complex commands and provide more helpful responses. Section 3. Privacy takes center stage. But perhaps the most significant improvements in iOS 18 are in the area of privacy. Apple's been banging the privacy drum for a while now, and they're not letting up with iOS 18. They've introduced a bunch of new features that give you even more control over your data and how apps can access it. One of the coolest new features is called App Privacy Report. This handy little tool lets you see exactly how different apps have been using your data over the past 7 days. You can see how often apps have accessed your location, microphone, camera, and contacts. You can even see if they've been sharing your data with third parties. It's a bit eye-opening to see just how much information some apps are collecting, but it also empowers you to take control and limit access to those apps that are a little too nosy for your liking. The price of premium, breaking down the cost. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the price. The iPhone 16 Pro Max is not for the faint of heart or the light of wallet. Apple's never been budget-friendly, and the 16 Pro Max continues that trend. We're talking a starting price that'll make your eyes water. You're paying for the Apple ecosystem, premium materials, cutting-edge technology, and brand cachet. It's like buying a luxury car. You're paying for the experience, status, and craftsmanship. Section 2. The upgrade dilemma. Who should take the plunge? So the million-dollar question, or should I say the $1,000 question, is the iPhone 16 Pro Max worth the upgrade? Well, as with most things in tech, the answer is, it depends. If you're rocking an iPhone 14 Pro Max, or even an iPhone 13 Pro Max, you might not see a night and day difference that justifies the hefty price tag. Sure, the A18 Bionic chip is faster, the camera system is slightly better, and the always-on display is a nice addition. but those are incremental upgrades, not revolutionary leaps forward. However, if you're coming from an older iPhone, say an iPhone 11 or earlier, then the iPhone 16 Pro Max will feel like a spaceship. You'll be blown away by the speed, the camera capabilities, the display quality, and the overall user experience. It'll be like stepping into the future of smartphones. Is the iPhone 16 Pro Max worth it? Alright, it's time for the final verdict. If you're an Apple diehard, go for it. You won't be disappointed. It's powerful, beautiful, and packed with features. But if you're on a budget, you might want to sit this one out. Weigh the pros and cons and consider your budget.